So, I was at work one day. The two guys I work with were talking about this show that they started watching. So I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And one guy goes, you heard of The Boys? And I'm like, no. So he's telling me about The Boys. The more he told me about it, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this show. So I watched it. And now, I'm going to tell you guys about it. Because it's fucking awesome. So, allow me to set up the world structure. Superheroes, I wouldn't say are common, but are a fairly everyday occurrence. They're kind of stationed all over the country, right? And there's kind of a superhero agency that hires on superheroes and kind of places them in cities that, you know, have high crime and stuff, right? There you go. That's pretty much the world structure. Superheroes are pretty universally revered and just damn near worshipped, right? But none more so than the supergroup known as the Seven. The Seven made me laugh when I started to really look at them, because I was like, holy shit, it's pretty much Justice League. Because it's pretty much Justice League. The big guy, Homelander, right? He wears the American flag as a cape. He is Superman. He's pretty much Superman. Lasers up from the eyes, flies, super strong, durable, all that sort of thing. Then there's Queen Maeve, right? Badass warrior goddess woman. She's a wonderful woman. Right? And then you've got A-Train, the fastest man alive. He runs down the street like a flash. And there's the Deep, amazing swimmer, talks to fish and shit, right? Very aquatic man. There's a couple other guys. There's Translucent. He's invisible, like he can turn himself invisible, but not really. It's very cool. His power is actually very cool. It's more than just turning invisible. Leads to some shenanigans. Black Noir, as far as I can tell, he's just kind of a ninja. He's just really badass fucking ninja. He does work. I don't know what to tell you. And then there's Starlight, the newest member of the team. And she's cool. She pretty much is Dazzler, right? She flashy lights from her hands. And they make up the Seven. They're the big kick-ass superhero team, right? Now, the way that kind of the show starts, there's a character on the show, his girlfriend. How can I describe this so as not to give too much away? She gets accidentally killed by one of the superheroes in a most amazing manner. And that's putting it fucking mildly. It's one of those things where after you see it, you're never going to unsee it. You know what I mean? Let's just say it's impressive what they did. And that kind of kicks off the show. It spirals quickly out of control from there. Carl Urban's in it, if you know who he is. He was Aylmer in Lord of the Rings. He was Judge Dredd. For those of you who watched the best fucking Judge Dredd movie ever, there's never going to be a better one than that either. So, fuck, I don't know what to tell you. The best Judge Dredd movie ever made, that was Carl Urban. He's done a lot of shit. He was like the big necro. Well, he was like the second in command necromonger in Riddick. He does all the fantasy. If it's a fucking fantasy movie that's been made in the past 10 years, he's fucking in it somewhere. That dude. And for the Australians in the audience, you're gonna have a special place in your heart for the guy. I'm just letting you know ahead of time, he's gonna quickly become your favorite character on the show. I think the word cunt is actually in almost like 90% of his lines. You're gonna love the fucking guy. I love the guy. You're gonna love the guy. Trust me. It's a fucking ridiculous show. Here's what makes it crazy. When you see most superhero movies, they're pretty formulaic, right? The superheroes themselves, pretty formulaic. They have a power of some sort, and they are ultimately pure and uncorruptible. Well, yeah, okay, that's fine for comics. But what if it was the really real world? With social media and all that. And think about it. It's a superhero agency. They're not fucking non-for-profit. They do movies and shit with these people. They become big stars. Billions of dollars. Right? So, if you want to stay on the big team, if you want to keep being one of the 7, you better trend, motherfucker. Right? And that kind of a life, you know, when you're leading essentially 2 lives, where you're out there in the world, you're being this superhero, and you're all, I'm here to save the day, and that, and then you go back home, and you're stressing over numbers. You gotta make your money. And then, of course, you're very wealthy, so you gotta spend that money too. Right? And pussy comes big into play and shit. Like, man, they're not good. None of them are really good people. On the show. Like, at all, really. None of them are really good people. Holy shit, though. It's amazing to just see what the fuck happens. It's one of those shows where you don't really care about how good the story actually is. Even though the story's actually fucking amazing. You just want to see how the shit plays out. It's always like that. The story's really good. I'm not trying to downplay the goodness of the story. The story's fucking great. But it's like, alright, there was this show. I'm looking at the box right now. It's called Dot Hack. For backslash play sign. Whatever. It's from the Dot Hack series. I don't know if any of you kicked up on that craze. It was early 2000s. Shit, it might have even been late 90s. I don't know. But it was a 4-game series that came out for PlayStation 2. 4 games. Bought all 4 of them, you could play through the whole story, and you could carry your character over from each game too. It was a fucking great idea. It was essentially you were playing as your character in an online MMO, right? Fucking shit happens, right? It was a cool game. Anyways, great concept. For the time, very unique, very original, even still nowadays, nothing quite like it. So I got into it, huge, loved the game. And I started watching the show. The show was odd. The beginning of the show was always good, because it was like the resolution of what happened at the fucking end of the last episode. And then it would get fucking terribly boring. It was just awful. Like, the voice acting was bad. It was so bad. It was so boring. It was just ponderous. They would do cool things and then talk about shit. It was just nothing but shit dialogue. It was awful. And then the end of the episode would go fucking insane off the rails, and it would be very cool. And you'd have to see the next episode to find out what happens. And then you'd watch the next episode, and it would start off cool. And it would resolve the problem from the last episode, and then it would get shit! And then it would get really fucking great again. And it was like, oh, I gotta watch the next one now. But through the whole middle of the show, you're like, why the fuck am I watching this? This is awful. And then it would get cool. And this show, The Boys, it's like that. But pretty much scene to scene. Like, you watch one scene, and then that scene ends, and you go, fuck. And then you get into the next scene, and it's like, well, shit, what's going to happen now? And then that scene goes fucking insane, and you're like... every scene, it's like, oh, just takes up from where it left off and then fucking gets cool again. And like, oh my God, it's such a great show. It's very fast paced. It's got a great pacing to it. The acting's fantastic. Carl Urban. The guy that plays Homelander is really good. Elizabeth Shue, she's in it. For those of you from the Adventures in Babysitting days, Elizabeth Shue's in it. She's the lady that kind of runs the agency. And she's pretty cool. Her character arc is very interesting. She's pretty much fucking oblivious to everything, but yet so diabolical all at the same time. She's a really good character. She's a great actress. Perfect for the fucking role. And all the guys that play the boys, they're all great. All the people that play all the superheroes, they're all really good. All of the fight scenes are really cool. All the effects are very neat. And just the world structure is just amazing. Like the way that they kind of trade these guys around. Like, there's one scene for how art imitates life and boy isn't it funny, right? You gotta figure, this show just was released. It's on Amazon Prime, by the way. The show was just released like a week ago? I think a week ago almost to the day, right? Last weekend I think it was. And where was I going with this? Shit. Oh. So the show had to have been like released a week ago, right? So they had to have filmed it fucking months ago, maybe even a year or so ago, right? So there's no way that anybody involved with the show would have had any idea the whole Baltimore thing between Trump and Elijah Cumming would have happened, right? Where Donald Trump the president calls into question the leadership, the guy that runs Baltimore, right? Baltimore's kind of a bad place. Rats everywhere, all manner of crime, right? And in the show, Elizabeth Shue plays the character that runs the organization, places superheroes in cities that ain't doing so well, right? She's talking to the mayor of Baltimore and telling him about how shitty crime infested his fucking city is, and boy couldn't he use a superhero. And what superhero do they choose? Nubian Prince. Because he would work great for their demographic. Oh yeah, there's all manner of social justice shit in it. But it's not like... It's not annoying, it's very realistic. I thought it was actually quite refreshing, really, when it came down to it. Like, there's one part where... the one girl, Starlight, she does something bad, but it winds up being good, right? So they decide they're going to get her a new outfit, right? Which is kind of revealing. It's pretty sexy. And, you know, they say it's a bold feminist move. And she goes, how is that feminist? And he goes, it's empowering. Man, I thought it was fucking fantastic. Like the PC culture is kind of poked fun at in this show, so pretty much right up everybody's alley in my audience at the very least. Yeah, so I think you guys would really like it. I highly, highly, highly recommend The Boys. If you haven't heard of it, haven't seen it, you've heard of it now, it doesn't get a better recommendation than this. Like, the superhero thing is so pervasive right now, but this is fucking nothing like anything else that's out right now. Not one fucking thing. This blows Deadpool out of the water. This blows all the MCU out of the water. It's totally different. And it's very cool. And there's a lot of depth there if you're willing to fucking really think it through. They went to some degree with the detail of the writing. It's a really good show. I highly recommend it. There you go. I give it. I give it 5 fingers right in the gill slits. That's all I'm saying. It's a fucking crazy show.